I stood at the entrance of the Starlight Ballroom in Charlotte, North Carolina, watching guests filter into my sister Emily's wedding reception. The coordinator smiled at me, tablet in hand. I gave my name. Her smile faded. She scrolled, frowned, scrolled again. "I'm sorry, but your name isn't on the list." My mother appeared beside her, diamonds glittering at her throat. She looked at me with cold satisfaction. "Did you really think you were invited? Strangers aren't allowed." Something inside me went quiet and still. I smiled calmly. "Then I'll live like a stranger?" I turned and walked away. The October air hit my face as I pushed through the ballroom doors into the parking lot. My heels clicked against the pavement, each step taking me farther from the warm glow of string lights and champagne toasts. I should have felt angry. I should have felt devastated. Instead, I felt oddly free. This was who my mother had always been, Catherine Bennett, the woman who gave birth to me 30 years ago, but never quite figured out how to love me. She adored Emily, my younger sister by 4 years. Emily, who became a corporate lawyer like mother wanted. Emily, who married James Caldwell, whose family owned half the commercial real estate in our county. Emily, who never colored outside the lines. I became a nurse practitioner. I married young, a man named Michael, who turned out to be more interested in the idea of marriage than the actual work of it. We divorced after 3 years. I lived in a small apartment in downtown Charlotte, worked at City General Hospital, and volunteered at the free clinic every Saturday. By mother's standards, I was a disappointment. But I had made peace with that. Or so I thought. My car was parked in the far corner of the lot. I was fumbling for my keys when my phone buzzed in my clutch. A text from Sophie, my 14-year-old cousin. "Claire, please don't leave. Something's wrong with Grandma. She collapsed. They're calling 911, but everyone's panicking. You're a nurse. Please." My heart stopped. Grandma Eleanor, the only person in my family who had ever truly seen me. When I was 7 and my parents were too busy building their careers, Grandma took me in for 2 whole years. She taught me to bake bread, to identify birds, to believe I was worth something. If Grandma was hurt, I had no choice. I ran back toward the building, my dress hiked up, my carefully styled hair coming loose. The lobby was chaos when I burst through the doors. A crowd had formed near the coat check. I could hear Mother's voice, high and panicked, making things worse. Emily was crying, mascara streaming down her face. James stood uselessly nearby, looking like he wished he could disappear. I pushed through the crowd. "Move. Let me through." Grandma Eleanor was on the floor, her silver hair splayed against the marble tiles. Her face was pale, her breathing shallow. I dropped to my knees beside her, training taking over. I checked her pulse, her airway, her responsiveness. She was conscious but disoriented. "Grandma, it's Claire. Can you hear me?" Her eyelids fluttered. "Claire, sweetheart, I'm here. You're going to be okay. Does anything hurt?" She tried to shake her head but winced. "Just dizzy. So dizzy." I looked up at the crowd. "Did anyone see what happened?" Sophie pushed forward. "She just kind of swayed and then went down. It was so fast." I checked Grandma's pupils, her color, her breathing again. Likely a blood pressure drop or a heart rhythm issue, not immediately life-threatening, but she needed to be checked out. "Where are the paramedics?" "5 minutes out," someone called. I held Grandma's hand, monitoring her carefully. Her pulse was steadying, color returning to her cheeks. She squeezed my fingers weakly. "Thank you, sweetheart. I knew you'd come back." "I'll always come back for you, Grandma." The paramedics arrived and took over. I gave them a concise report, everything they needed to know. They loaded Grandma onto a stretcher, vitals stable, heading to City General for observation. As they wheeled her away, she reached for my hand one more time. Stay, Claire. Please stay. I want you at this wedding. How could I say no to that? But as I stood in the lobby, covered in dust from the floor, my dress rumpled, I felt my mother approach. Her voice had that saccharine sweetness she used when she wanted something. Claire, darling, thank goodness you were here. You see, family always needs family. I turned to face her. Her makeup was perfect again. The panic vanished. She looked at me with calculating eyes. Now that the emergency is handled, you should really go. We can't have you at the reception looking like that. She gestured at my disheveled appearance. Maybe run home, change, and then just stay home. We wouldn't want you to feel uncomfortable. So that was it. Use my skills, then dismiss me again. Sophie grabbed my arm. No, Claire, you have to stay. Grandma wants you here. The wedding coordinator approached, her expression apologetic. She spoke quietly, but I heard every word. Your mother just asked me to seat you at table 23, in the back corner behind the pillar with the vendor's table. The ultimate humiliation. I was invited now, but not as a daughter, not as a sister, as something less than a guest. I should have left. I should have walked away and never looked back. But Grandma's voice echoed in my head. Stay. Please stay. Fine, I said. Table 23. I walked toward the ballroom, Sophie beside me. As I passed a hallway, I heard Mother's voice, harsh and low, speaking into her phone. I paused, hidden by a decorative column. Yes, she'll be at table 23. Make sure the photographer doesn't get her in any family photos, and tell Emily not to acknowledge her during the speeches. We'll pretend she's just staff or something. The words landed like physical blows, but I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just kept walking, Sophie's hand tight in mine, toward the table, behind the pillar, where I would sit with catering staff and watch my sister's perfect wedding unfold without me. Table 23 was exactly as advertised, behind a massive marble pillar tucked in the far corner of the ballroom, positioned so I could see almost nothing of the main events. I sat with 3 members of the catering staff, who were kind but clearly confused about why a guest was seated with them. You family? Asked Maria, a woman about my age with warm brown eyes. Sister of the bride, I said quietly. The 3 of them exchanged glances but said nothing. What could they say? The reception began with all the traditional fanfare. The DJ announced Emily and James's entrance. Everyone cheered. From my position behind the pillar, I could see only fragments. A swirl of Emily's white dress, James's hand on her waist, the sparkle of the chandelier overhead. Dinner was served. I ate prime rib that tasted like cardboard, not because it was poorly prepared, but because I could barely swallow past the lump in my throat. The speeches began. James's father welcomed Emily into their family with touching words about love and partnership. My mother stood and gave a speech about her 2 wonderful daughters, except she never said my name. She spoke about Emily and my girls in a way that made it sound like she meant Emily and someone else entirely. Maybe a pet, maybe an imaginary child, anyone but me. Then came the family recognition segment. The DJ asked all of Emily's family to stand and be applauded. From my seat, I watched relatives rise. Mother, elegant in navy blue, Aunt Deborah, Uncle Thomas, cousins I'd grown up with. They stood, smiling, waving, basking in the applause. I remained seated behind the pillar, hidden, invisible, exactly as Mother had planned. Sophie found me during the salad course. She slid into the empty seat beside me, her face flushed with anger. Claire, I didn't know they'd put you here. This is so messed up. It's fine, Sophie. It's not fine. And there's something else you need to know. She leaned closer, her voice dropping. I was in the bathroom, and I heard Aunt Deborah talking to some of the other aunts. Your mom told everyone you weren't coming because you're too jealous of Emily's success. She made it sound like you refused the invitation out of spite. That's why nobody's come over to say hi. They think you're just crashing the wedding out of pettiness." My chest tightened. Not only had Mother excluded me, but she'd also poisoned the entire family against me with lies. They thought I was bitter and small-minded. They thought I was the problem. "I need to leave," I whispered. "No, Claire. Don't let her win." But I was already standing, ready to slip out quietly during the transition to dancing. I'd done my duty for Grandma. I'd stayed. Now I could go. That's when James's brother, Nathan, appeared at our table. He was 24, drunk, and clearly thought he was charming. He snapped his fingers at me. "Hey, sweetheart, can you get me another whiskey?" "Neat. And make it fast." I stared at him. "I'm sorry, the whiskey?" "Earth to serve a girl." He snapped his fingers again. "I'm not staff, I'm the bride's sister." Nathan laughed, loud and mocking. "Right, and I'm the Queen of England. Good one. Now seriously, the whiskey." His voice carried. People at nearby tables turned to look. I felt my face burn. "I'm not joking. I'm Claire Bennett, Emily's sister." "Okay, crazy lady. If you're really the bride's sister, why are you sitting at the staff table?" He made a show of looking around. "Where's your place card? Oh, wait. You don't have one because you're lying." More people were watching now. The scene was drawing attention. I saw Mother approaching, and for one brief, foolish moment I thought she might defend me, tell Nathan who I was, set the record straight. Instead, she smiled that cold smile and said smoothly, "Oh, that's just Claire. We're distant relatives. She's here as a courtesy." "Claire, dear, perhaps you could help Nathan find the bar." Distant relatives. She called us distant relatives. Sophie stood up, her voice shaking. "That's not true. Claire is Emily's sister, your daughter. Tell them." Mother's eyes went hard. "Sophie, that's enough. Go find your parents." I put a hand on Sophie's shoulder. "It's okay." Then I looked at Mother. "I'm leaving." I didn't wait for a response. I walked toward the exit, my dignity in tatters, my heart a stone in my chest. I was almost to the door when I heard running footsteps behind me. "Claire, wait." "Emily." My sister caught up to me, tears streaming down her face, her veil askew. For a second, I thought maybe she cared. Maybe she'd finally stand up for me. "Claire, I need you. James's grandmother just started choking at her table. You helped our grandma earlier. Please, you have to help Mrs. Caldwell too. She's his only living grandparent. If something happens to her at our wedding, I'll never forgive myself." Not an apology, not a defense, just another request for my medical skills. I looked at my sister, really looked at her. She was 26 years old, married to a good man, standing in a designer wedding dress that cost more than I made in 3 months. She had everything, and she still needed more from me. I saw Mother watching from across the room, her expression calculating. She knew I'd help. She knew my conscience wouldn't let me walk away from a medical emergency. She had me trapped, and she knew it. "Where is she?" I asked quietly. Emily led me to table 7, where Mrs. Caldwell, a woman in her late 70s with silver hair and sharp eyes, was clutching her throat. The people around her were panicking. I moved quickly, got behind her, and performed the Heimlich maneuver. A piece of steak dislodged on the 3rd thrust. Mrs. Caldwell coughed, gasped, and began breathing normally. The table erupted in relieved applause. Mrs. Caldwell turned to look at me, her breathing still labored but her gaze, focused and intelligent. "Thank you, dear. That was quite skillfully done. What's your name?" "Claire Bennett." Her eyebrows rose. "Bennett? You're related to the bride?" "I'm her sister." Mrs. Caldwell looked genuinely shocked. Her sister? Then why on earth are you sitting at the vendor's table? The question carried. People at nearby tables heard it. They looked confused. The wedding coordinator who'd seated me looked uncomfortable. And Mother, overhearing from 10 feet away, went very still. I'd just created a problem. People were questioning the seating arrangement, and Mother would absolutely blame me for causing drama. Mrs. Caldwell wasn't finished. She took my hand in both of hers. "You've saved my life, Claire Bennett. I won't forget this kindness." Then she looked at Emily. "Your sister is a remarkable woman. You're lucky to have her." Emily smiled weakly and didn't respond. I excused myself, knowing I'd just made everything worse. As I walked back toward my table, I felt the weight of stares following me, whispers starting, questions spreading. I knew that by trying to leave quietly, by trying to help one more time, I'd set off a chain reaction I couldn't control. I made it approximately 15 feet before the wedding coordinator intercepted me again. Her name tag read Lauren, and she looked frazzled. "Claire, I'm so sorry to bother you again, but we have a crisis. The videographer just quit. Your mother was criticizing his work during the ceremony, and he finally had enough. He packed up and left. The backup can't get here for 2 hours. Emily is hysterical. The ceremony was filmed, but all the reception moments are being lost." I started to say it wasn't my problem, but then Sophie appeared again, breathless. "Claire does videography. She filmed my school play last year, and it was amazing. She has all the equipment in her car because she does it as a side business." I closed my eyes. Of course, Sophie had told them. Sweet, helpful Sophie, who didn't understand she'd just handed Mother another weapon. Mother appeared as if summoned. "Claire, since you're here anyway, would you be willing to film the rest of the reception for Emily's sake? For family?" The ballroom had gone quiet. People were listening. If I refused, I'd look petty and cruel. The sister who wouldn't help film her own sister's wedding. Mother had backed me into a corner in front of witnesses. I tried to salvage something. "I'd be happy to help. My normal rate is $2,000 for an event of this size." Mother's face transformed into a mask of shock and hurt. "You'd charge your own sister? On her wedding day, Claire? That's heartless." Murmurs rippled through the nearby crowd. I saw judgment in their eyes. Emily was crying again, and James put an arm around her, looking at me like I was some kind of monster. I felt the trap close. "Fine," I said. "I'll do it for free." Mother's smile was triumphant. "That's so generous of you, dear. The equipment is in your car." 20 minutes later, I was back inside with my camera, my Steadicam, my microphone equipment. I'd changed nothing about my appearance. I was still in my rumpled dress, my hair still disheveled from kneeling on the floor to help Grandma. But now I was the videographer, the hired help, exactly where Mother wanted me. I filmed the toasts. Mother gave hers, all about her precious daughter Emily, about the joy of watching her grow into a successful woman, about how proud she was. She never once looked at me behind the camera. I was invisible again, but this time by necessity. A videographer can't be in the footage. I filmed the first dance, Emily and James swaying under the chandelier, lost in each other, their love evident and real. I was happy for my sister in that moment, truly. She deserved love and happiness. I just wished it didn't require my erasure. I filmed the cake cutting, the bouquet toss preparations, the dancing. Every moment I captured was a moment I couldn't be part of. Every frame was evidence of my absence from my own sister's wedding. As I moved around the ballroom, I got too close to the gift table at one point. My microphone picked up a conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. Mother and Aunt Deborah talking in the corner. Mother's voice was low but clear in my headphones. "Having Claire work the camera is perfect. Now she can't be in any photos or videos. It's like she was never here at all. and everyone thinks she's just being helpful. They'll never know I banned her from the guest list. My hands tightened on the camera. I kept filming, kept the lens steady, but inside, I was shaking. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I checked it during a break in the action. A text from my best friend Rachel, who'd been invited but couldn't come due to a work conflict. Claire, I just saw on Emily's Instagram story that you're working as the videographer. I thought you were in the wedding party. What happened? I looked up. Sure enough, Emily was on her phone, posting to Instagram. I caught a glimpse of her screen. A selfie of her and James with the caption, "So grateful for everyone who made our day special." Even Claire stepped up to film when our videographer bailed, with a camera emoji and a prayer hands emoji. She was spinning it, making it seem like I'd volunteered. Like this was my role all along. Not the sister, not family, just the person who happened to have camera equipment. The humiliation was going public. By tomorrow, our entire extended family and all our family friends across the country would see Emily's posts. They'd think I was just the wedding videographer. Mother's erasure of me would be complete. I wanted to put down the camera, walk out, delete all the footage, and let them explain to guests why there was no video. But I couldn't, because doing that would prove every lie Mother had told about me, that I was bitter, jealous, vindictive, unstable. So I kept filming. During the cake cutting, someone touched my elbow. Turned to find Mrs. Caldwell, James's grandmother, standing beside me. Despite her recent choking scare, she looked alert and determined. She leaned close and whispered, "I've been watching your mother all evening. I know what she's doing to you, and I know something about your family that might interest you. Your grandmother Eleanor told me years ago when she was worried about you, but I need you to film something for me first. The bouquet toss. Make sure you capture your mother's face clearly during it. Trust me." I had no idea what she meant, but Mrs. Caldwell had just survived a near-death experience because of me. If she said to film something, I'd film it. "I will," I promised. She nodded, satisfied, and returned to her seat. I positioned myself for the bouquet toss, making sure I had a clear angle on both Emily and the gathered single women. And, as Mrs. Caldwell requested, a clear shot of Mother standing to the side. I had no idea that the next 5 minutes would change everything. Emily stood at the center of the dance floor, her back to the gathered crowd of single women, cousins, friends, even a few brave married women who claimed they were catching it for luck. Sophie was among them, grinning, clearly not expecting to catch it but enjoying the tradition. I had the camera positioned perfectly, wide angle to catch the throw, but tight enough to capture reactions. Mother stood off to the left, beaming, playing the proud parent for the guests. Emily counted down. 3, 2, 1. She threw the bouquet over her shoulder. It sailed in a perfect arc high above everyone's reaching hands. It traveled farther than Emily probably intended, clearing the crowd entirely, and landed directly in Mother's hands. The ballroom erupted in laughter and applause. Mother caught it reflexively, then looked down at the bouquet in her hands like it was a live snake. Her face went white. Not pale, not surprised, but white, drained of all color. She dropped the bouquet. It fell to the floor, flowers scattering. The laughter continued, people thinking it was funny, but I saw Mother's hands shaking. I zoomed in slightly, capturing the terror in her eyes. What was happening? Mrs. Caldwell caught my eye from across the room and nodded. She'd wanted me to see this reaction. But why? The bouquet toss concluded with someone else picking up the flowers, and Mother excused herself, disappearing toward the restrooms. I kept filming other moments, but my mind was racing. During a break in the formal events, Mrs. Caldwell appeared at my side again. "Come with me," she said. "Bring the camera." I followed her to a quiet hallway off the main ballroom. She checked to make sure we were alone, then spoke in a low, urgent voice. Your grandmother Eleanor and I have been friends for 40 years. About 10 years ago, she was very worried about you, about how your mother treated you. She told me something in confidence, but Eleanor passed away 6 months ago, and I think you deserve to know the truth. My heart clenched. Grandma Eleanor had died peacefully in her sleep, and I'd grieved deeply, but I didn't know she'd shared family secrets with Mrs. Caldwell. Your mother had another daughter before Emily, a firstborn. When your mother was 19, she got pregnant. The father was a boy from the wrong side of town, someone your grandparents disapproved of. Your mother gave that baby up for adoption. The world tilted. I had another sister. Mrs. Caldwell continued. Eleanor said that when you were born, you looked exactly like that first baby. The same eyes, the same face shape. Your mother couldn't bond with you. Every time she looked at you, she saw the daughter she'd given away. She saw her guilt, her shame, her mistake. You weren't the problem, Claire. You were just an innocent reminder of something she couldn't face. Tears burned my eyes. This explained everything. The coldness, the preference for Emily, the constant rejection. I wasn't unlovable. I was just a mirror, reflecting pain Mother didn't want to see. There's more, Mrs. Caldwell said gently. 6 months ago, that adopted daughter made contact. She found your mother. Her name is Natalie. Eleanor told me that your mother has been secretly meeting with her, trying to make amends for giving her away, but she's never told anyone in the family, not even Emily. Eleanor only knew because she accidentally saw them together at a restaurant in downtown Charlotte. Why are you telling me this? I whispered. Because you deserve to know why you've been treated so cruelly, and because during the ceremony today, I was sitting near your mother. Her phone kept ringing. She kept silencing it, but I could see the caller ID. It said Natalie. That woman was calling your mother over and over during her other daughter's wedding. Your mother looked terrified. The pieces clicked into place. Mother wasn't just cruel, she was panicking. Natalie was trying to reach her, maybe trying to come to the wedding, and Mother was desperate to keep her secret buried. Before I could process this information, Sophie came running down the hallway, phone in hand, face pale as paper. Claire, you need to see this. Someone just posted in the family group chat. She showed me her phone. The family group chat, which included aunts, uncles, cousins, basically every Bennett and connected family member, had a new message from an unknown number. My name is Natalie Hayes. I'm Catherine Bennett's firstborn daughter. She gave me up for adoption 36 years ago. I've been trying to reach her all day because I'm in town and wanted to meet my sister Emily at her wedding. Catherine has been avoiding my calls. Can someone please tell me where the reception is? I'd like to meet my family. My phone started buzzing in my pocket. Everyone's phones were buzzing. The message had been sent to the entire extended family, dozens of people, all at once. Aunt Deborah's response appeared first. What is this? Then Uncle Thomas. Is this a joke? Then cousin after cousin, expressing confusion, shock, demanding answers. Sophie grabbed my arm. Claire, everyone's seeing this. Everyone. I looked up from the phone to see Mother across the ballroom. She was standing frozen, phone in her hand, face drained of color again. She'd just seen the group chat message. Natalie had exposed the secret to the entire family. Mother's eyes found mine across the crowded room. For the first time in my life, I saw my mother look truly, utterly afraid, and I realized that I now held all the power. I had the video footage of her reaction to the bouquet, the symbol of marriage and legitimacy that triggered her guilt. I knew her secret. Mrs. Caldwell knew her secret. And now Natalie, her firstborn daughter, was about to arrive and destroy the perfect image Mother had spent decades building. The wedding was about to implode, and there was nothing Mother could do to stop it. The ballroom descended into chaos within minutes. People clustered in groups, phones out, talking in urgent whispers. The music had stopped. Dancing ceased. Even the bartenders were checking their phones. Emily noticed the shift first. She approached Mother, confused. "Mom, what's happening? Why is everyone on their phones instead of dancing?" Mother tried to deflect. "Nothing, darling. Just some spam message. Ignore it. Let's get the dancing started again." But Aunt Deborah was already marching over, phone extended like a weapon. "Catherine, who is Natalie Hayes? And why is she claiming to be your daughter?" Emily's face went slack with shock. "What?" Mother's composure cracked. "Deborah, not here, not now. This is Emily's wedding." "Then you'd better explain fast." Uncle Thomas joined them, his voice hard. "Because the whole family just got that message, and people are asking questions." I stood behind my camera, still filming, capturing every moment. This was evidence. This was truth. Whatever happened next, I wanted it recorded. Emily grabbed Mother's arm. "Mom, what is Aunt Deborah talking about? Who is Natalie Hayes?" Mother's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. In 30 years, I'd never seen my mother speechless. James appeared at Emily's side, trying to understand. Sophie rushed over to me. "Claire, this is getting crazy." Aunt Deborah spoke loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. "Catherine, did you have a daughter before Emily? Did you give a baby up for adoption?" The question hung in the air. Guests were staring now. The perfect wedding Mother had orchestrated was crumbling. Mother's voice, when it finally came, was barely a whisper. "Yes." Emily stumbled backward like she'd been slapped. "What?" "I was 19. It was before I met your father. I gave the baby up for adoption." Mother's words came faster now, desperate. "It was a mistake. A youthful mistake. I moved on. Built a life. Had you girls. It's ancient history." "You have another daughter? And you never told me?" Emily's voice rose, shrill with betrayal. "I'm finding this out on my wedding day." James tried to calm his new wife, but Emily was spiraling. Guests were recording on their phones now. This was going to be all over social media. That's when Mother made her fatal error. Cornered, desperate, she lashed out at the nearest target, me. She pointed directly at me and announced loudly, "This is Claire's fault. She must have contacted this woman and told her about the wedding to ruin Emily's special day. She's always been jealous." Every eye in the ballroom turned to me. I stood behind the camera, stunned. "Claire has resented Emily for years," Mother continued, her voice gaining strength as she spun her lie. "She's bitter about her divorce, bitter about her life. She probably found Natalie online and manipulated her into doing this. She's trying to sabotage this wedding." The accusation was insane. I'd learned about Natalie 15 minutes ago, but Mother was a skilled liar, and in the chaos, some people looked uncertain. Aunt Deborah frowned. "Catherine, that doesn't make sense. How would Claire even know about Natalie if you've kept it secret all these years?" "I don't know, but she must have found out somehow." Mother was unraveling, her desperation showing. I lowered the camera. "I didn't contact anyone. I didn't even know Natalie existed until tonight." "Liar," Mother's voice cracked. "You've always wanted to destroy this family." That's when Mrs. Caldwell's voice rang out, clear and authoritative despite her age. She stood from her seat at table 7, and the ballroom went quiet. "Catherine Bennett, that is a lie, and you know it." Mrs. Caldwell walked slowly toward the center of the room. "I've known about Natalie for years. Eleanor told me, and I told Claire about her just 30 minutes ago. Your daughter had nothing to do with Natalie contacting you. That young woman found you on her own." Mother's lie deflated, but she wasn't finished. "You all don't understand. I've tried to make amends. I've been meeting with Natalie for 6 months, trying to help her, but she's become obsessed. She won't leave me alone. This message tonight is harassment. 6 months? Emily's voice was small. You've been meeting with her for 6 months and never told me I have a sister? The hurt in Emily's voice cut through everything else. For the first time, I saw my sister truly see Mother for who she was. The ballroom doors opened. A woman walked in, uncertain, nervous. She was in her late 30s with dark hair and Mother's bone structure. She wore jeans and a nice blouse, clearly unprepared for a formal wedding. I'm looking for Catherine Bennett, she said to the room at large. I'm Natalie. The silence was absolute. Mother went rigid. Natalie spotted her and walked over, her voice shaking. I've been trying to reach you all day. You agreed to meet me when I was in town. You said you wanted me to meet Emily, but then you stopped answering my calls. I just wanted to meet my sister. I wanted to be part of a family. You shouldn't be here. Mother's voice was cold now. Why not? You told me you wanted to make amends. You told me you regretted giving me up. You said you wanted me in your life. Was that all a lie? Emily stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. You're Natalie? You're my sister? Natalie's face softened. Yes. I'm sorry to meet you like this. I just wanted to be part of the family. Your mother promised. Emily turned on Mother with fury I'd never seen from my gentle younger sister. You've been meeting with her for 6 months and never told me I have a sister? What else have you lied about? Then Emily looked at me, and something shifted in her eyes. Recognition, understanding. Claire, you've been treated like an outsider our whole lives. Was it because of this? Because of Natalie? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The truth was written on Mother's face. Aunt Deborah spoke up. Catherine, you've always been harder on Claire than Emily. We all saw it. We just didn't understand why. Uncle Thomas nodded. I always thought it was strange, the way you treated your daughters so differently. Cousins chimed in, observations they'd kept quiet for years suddenly tumbling out. Mother was surrounded by accusations, truth closing in from all sides. And then Mother snapped. Fine, you want the truth? Her voice was shrill now, desperate. I gave Natalie up because I was 19 and scared, and I had no choice. And when Claire was born, and she looked exactly like Natalie, I couldn't look at her without remembering what I'd done. She was a constant reminder of my biggest mistake. The words echoed through the ballroom. Guests stared in horror. Emily covered her mouth. Sophie started crying, and I felt something inside me finally break. The years of wondering what was wrong with me, why I wasn't good enough, why Mother couldn't love me. It was never about me. It was never my fault. Mother compared me to giving away a baby, called me a reminder of her biggest mistake, said it out loud in front of everyone. I walked to the center of the ballroom, still holding the camera. I spoke quietly, but in the silence, everyone heard me. I have everything on film, all of it. Your reaction to the bouquet, the moment you saw Natalie's message, every word you just said. And I can do one of two things. I can give you this footage to keep your secrets, let you salvage what's left of your image, or I can keep it and show everyone exactly who you really are. I met Mother's eyes. Your choice. Mother's eyes narrowed. I watched her calculate, weigh her options. Then she made her decision. She chose attack. You all want to know why I've been hard on Claire? Why I've kept my distance? Let me tell you. Mother's voice carried through the ballroom. Claire had an affair with a married man 3 years ago. She destroyed another woman's marriage. That's who she really is. And I've been protecting this family from her moral corruption. The accusation hit me like a physical blow. Heads turned, people whispered. It was a complete lie, fabricated on the spot. But Mother said it with such conviction that I saw doubt in people's eyes. That's not true, I said, But my voice came out weak, defensive, exactly how guilty people sound. Isn't it? Mother pressed her advantage. Why else would your marriage to Michael fall apart? Because you cheated. And I've kept that secret out of respect for you. But if you're going to threaten me with that footage, then maybe it's time everyone knew what kind of person you really are. I felt the room shift against me. In conservative families, accusations of infidelity stick. Even if untrue, the stain remains. How do you prove something didn't happen? I had no evidence of innocence. It's impossible to prove a negative. Sophie started to protest, but Mother cut her off. Sophie, you're young. You don't understand adult situations. I stood there, the camera heavy in my hands, feeling the trap close. My word against Mother's. Who would the family believe? Then Natalie spoke up, her voice quiet but clear. That's interesting, Catherine, because 6 months ago, when we first met for coffee, you told me that Claire was a nurse practitioner who volunteers at a free clinic every weekend. You said she was too good, too perfect, always trying to make you look bad by being so virtuous. You said she made you feel guilty because she was everything you weren't. Mother's face went white. I never said that. You did, Natalie said. I remember it clearly because I thought it was strange that you resented your daughter for being kind. Natalie pulled out her phone. Actually, I was so moved by what you said about Claire that I wrote it down in my notes app. Would you like me to read it? The contradiction was stark. Mother had told Natalie one story 6 months ago and was telling the family the opposite now. Which was true. Emily stared at Mother. You called Claire too perfect, but you just said she had an affair. Mother's composure cracked further. Natalie is confused. She's twisting my words. I'm not confused. Natalie's voice was sad. I know what you said. And I know you're lying right now. Uncle Thomas spoke up. Catherine, this doesn't add up. You've contradicted yourself. Aunt Deborah nodded. Why would you tell Natalie that Claire was virtuous if she'd had an affair? Mother scrambled. Because I was trying to protect Claire's reputation. I didn't want Natalie to know the truth. But people weren't buying it anymore. Too many lies were stacking up, collapsing under their own weight. Emily took a step toward me. Her face was streaked with mascara, her perfect wedding makeup ruined by tears. She looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. Claire, did you have an affair? I met my sister's eyes. No, never. I don't know why she'd say that, but it's not true. Michael and I divorced because we were incompatible. That's all. There was no one else. Emily studied my face. I saw her weighing everything. Mother's lies about Natalie, Mother's treatment of me over the years, Mother's contradictory stories. Finally, she said, I believe Claire. It was a small moment, barely audible, but it shifted everything. Mother's control shattered. After everything I've done for you, Emily, Mother said, I gave you the perfect life. I sacrificed so much. You sacrificed Natalie, Emily said quietly. And you made Claire pay for it her whole life. That's not sacrifice. That's cruelty. I gave my first daughter up so I could give you everything. Mother's voice rose to a shriek. I gave Natalie up so you could be my only daughter, so you could have my full attention. Don't you understand? The admission stunned everyone. Mother had just confessed that she didn't give Natalie up out of necessity or fear. She gave her up because one daughter fit her plans better than two. She discarded Natalie to make room for the perfect child she wanted. Natalie made a sound like a wounded animal. You didn't give me up because you were scared. You gave me up because I wasn't part of your perfect plan, and Claire suffered because she reminded you of that choice. Emily finished. We were both just inconvenient to you. Uncle Thomas stepped forward, his face hard. Catherine, I think you need to leave. Aunt Deborah nodded. You've caused enough damage. This is Emily's wedding, and you've turned it into a circus. Even Emily, still in her wedding dress, whispered, Mom, please go. Mother looked around at her family. Every face had turned against her, years of manipulation and control crumbling in a single evening. She grabbed her purse from a nearby table. You'll all regret this, she spat. Every single one of you. She stormed toward the exit, heels clicking furiously against the marble floor. The ballroom doors slammed behind her. The silence that followed was heavy. Guests stood frozen. The DJ didn't know whether to resume music. Emily sobbed in James's arms. Natalie looked lost. Sophie was crying, and I felt a strange, hollow guilt. I hadn't wanted this. I just wanted to be acknowledged, to be seen. I'd never meant to destroy Emily's wedding. Sophie came to me, phone in hand, face pale. Claire, your mom just posted something on Facebook. It's already being shared. I looked at Sophie's screen. Mother had posted a long public rant, tagging me, Emily, and half the family. Tonight, my vindictive daughter Claire conspired with a woman claiming to be my child to ruin Emily's beautiful wedding. Claire's jealousy and bitterness know no bounds. She brought chaos and lies to destroy a sacred day. I'm heartbroken by her cruelty. The post was public. Hundreds of family, friends, Mother's church group, her co-workers, everyone could see it, and it was already being shared. The post continued. I'm meeting with my lawyer on Monday to discuss legal action for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Claire has slandered me and destroyed my reputation. This won't go unpunished. She was threatening to sue me. I looked down at the camera in my hands. It held the only real evidence of what happened tonight. Mother's reactions, her lies, her confession. But using it meant escalating the war. It meant airing our family's ugliest secrets to the world. I'd won tonight's battle. The family had seen through Mother's lies, but Mother's Facebook post was already out there, spreading, poisoning people against me before they could hear the truth. And the threat of a lawsuit, even baseless, was terrifying. I didn't have money for lawyers. I couldn't afford a court fight. I sat down in the nearest chair, suddenly exhausted. Emily approached slowly, tentatively. Claire, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was this bad. I didn't know about any of it. I know. What are you going to do? I looked at the camera, then at my sister, then at Natalie, standing alone near the gift table, looking like she regretted coming. I don't know, I admitted. I honestly don't know. I sat in my car in the Starlight Ballroom parking lot at midnight. The reception had ended early, guests leaving in awkward clusters, whispering about what they'd witnessed. Emily and James had retreated to their honeymoon suite at the hotel next door. Natalie had disappeared into the night. Sophie had texted me 3 times, asking if I was okay. I held the camera in my lap, the footage sitting on the memory card. Everything was there. The truth, the evidence. But releasing it meant burning every bridge, scorching the earth, destroying what little remained of my family. I could delete it, walk away, let Mother's Facebook post stand, and hope the truth emerged eventually. Take the high road, be the bigger person. Except I was tired of being the bigger person. I was tired of absorbing cruelty and staying silent. I was tired of letting Mother control the narrative. For the first time in 30 years, I chose to fight back. I drove home to my small downtown Charlotte apartment, made coffee at midnight, and sat at my computer. I spent 3 hours editing the footage into a 12-minute video. I included Mother's reaction to the bouquet, her cold treatment throughout the evening, Natalie's arrival, Mother's contradictory lies, her admission about sacrificing Natalie for Emily, and finally, her exile from the family. The video was clear, factual, and damning. I hovered the mouse over the upload button. Once I posted this to Facebook, there was no taking it back. It would humiliate Mother publicly. It would expose family secrets. It would cause permanent, irreparable damage. My phone rang. Emily, at 12:45 in the morning. Claire, I'm sorry to call so late. Are you awake? Yeah. After everyone left, I went through Mom's things that she left at my house while getting ready for the wedding. I found her journal. Emily's voice shook. Claire, she wrote terrible things about you for years. Pages and pages. She wrote about wishing you'd never been born, about how you reminded her of her mistake, about deliberately excluding you from family events. I had no idea how bad it was. I should have seen it. I should have protected you. I closed my eyes. It's not your fault. Post the video, Claire. What? Mom's Facebook post is already spreading. 50 people have shared it. Family, friends are commenting, calling you horrible names. She's destroying your reputation. You have every right to defend yourself. Post the video, tell the truth, and I'll back you up. I'll comment, confirming everything. So will James. I already talked to Natalie, and she'll do the same. You're not alone anymore. Claire, please let me do this one thing right. Let me stand up for my sister. With Emily's words in my ears, I clicked upload. I posted the video to Facebook and tagged everyone who'd been at the wedding. I wrote a simple caption. This is what really happened tonight at my sister's wedding. Watch and decide for yourself. The response was immediate. Within 30 minutes, 50 views. Within an hour, 200. Family members began commenting. Aunt Deborah. I always knew something was wrong with how Catherine treated her daughters. This video confirms it. Uncle Thomas. Catherine's behavior was appalling. Claire showed remarkable restraint. Sophie. Claire is the strongest person I know. She saved both grandmothers tonight and still got treated like trash. Emily posted. This video shows the truth. My mother lied for years. Claire deserves everyone's apology, mine most of all. James added. Claire acted with nothing but grace and professionalism tonight, despite unconscionable treatment. My family and I fully support her. And then Natalie. I'm the daughter Catherine gave up. Everything in this video is accurate. Claire is innocent. I found Catherine on my own. The real villain of this story is my biological mother, who sacrificed 2 daughters to maintain her perfect image. The video spread beyond our immediate family. Friends of family members watched it. Mother's Facebook friends started seeing it. Comments on Mother's original post began pointing to my video, questioning her version of events. By morning, Mother had deleted her Facebook rant, but screenshots lived forever. People had saved it, compared it to my video, and drawn their own conclusions. My phone rang at 7 in the morning. I answered, groggy. Claire, it's Natalie. Can we meet for coffee? We met at a cafe in downtown Charlotte at 9 mi. Natalie looked tired but determined. We sat across from each other, 2 women connected by the same cruel hand of fate. Thank you for posting that video, Natalie said. I've spent 6 months trying to connect with Catherine, and she kept stringing me along, making promises, then pulling back. I thought it was my fault, that I wasn't good enough. Watching that video made me realize she does this to everyone who doesn't fit her perfect narrative. I'm sorry she hurt you. I'm sorry she hurt you worse. At least I grew up with a loving adoptive family. You had to live with her rejection every day. Natalie stirred her coffee. We're both survivors of the same woman's cruelty. Maybe we can be sisters in a way that actually means something. I smiled. I'd like that. We exchanged phone numbers, made plans for lunch the following week. It was a small start, but it was real. Emily called that afternoon. Claire, can we talk in person? We met at a park near my apartment. Emily still looked shell-shocked from her ruined wedding reception, but there was something different in her eyes. clarity maybe, or guilt finally acknowledged. I should have seen it, Emily said. All those years, the way Mom treated you differently, I told myself it was in my head, or that you were being oversensitive. I took the easy path of pretending everything was fine because it was fine for me. I'm ashamed of that. You were her golden child. It's hard to see abuse when you're not the target. That's no excuse. You're my sister. I should have protected you. Emily's voice broke. Can we start over? Not pretend the past didn't happen, but actually build something real. It wouldn't be easy. Years of distance and resentment don't heal overnight. But I saw genuine remorse in Emily's eyes, and that was more than I'd ever expected. We can try, I said. We started slowly. A lunch here, a phone call there. Emily brought James to dinner at my apartment, and we talked for hours about everything we'd never discussed. She asked about my nursing work, my volunteer clinic, my life beyond mother's dismissive labels. I asked about her law practice, her marriage, her dreams. We were building something new from broken pieces. 2 weeks after the wedding, I visited Grandma Eleanor's grave. I sat on the grass beside her headstone and told her everything. You were right to worry about me, I said. But I'm okay now. I found my voice. I found my sisters. The real ones. I imagined she'd be proud. Mother's lawyer sent me a letter 3 weeks after the wedding. I opened it with shaking hands, expecting a lawsuit. Instead, it was a brief statement. After reviewing available evidence, we have advised our client that legal action would not be in her best interests. Please consider this matter closed. The threat of a lawsuit dissolved. Mother had backed down. I didn't hear from Mother directly for 2 months. Then a letter arrived in my mailbox. A plain white envelope, my name in her handwriting. I let it sit on my kitchen counter for 3 days before opening it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know you were never a mistake. I was. I'm sorry. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough to erase 30 years of rejection and cruelty. But it was acknowledgement. It was truth. Finally spoken. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe I wouldn't. The choice was mine now. That was the power I'd never had before. 6 months after Emily's wedding, the 3 of us had lunch together. Claire, Emily, and Natalie. The Bennett sisters, reunited despite the woman who tried to keep us apart. We laughed over salads and told stories. Emily shared updates about her marriage. Natalie talked about her job as a teacher. I mentioned the 5 new videography clients I'd gained after someone at the wedding recommended my work, surviving Catherine Bennett. Natalie raised her glass. To becoming more than her damage. Emily added, to choosing each other. I finished. To new beginnings. We clinked glasses and drank. Sophie, now 15, told me I was her hero. She said watching me stand up for myself gave her courage to set boundaries with her own controlling mother. You showed me that you don't have to accept mistreatment just because someone's family. Uncle Thomas apologized for years of silence. I saw how Catherine treated you. I should have said something. I'm sorry. Aunt Deborah pulled me aside at Thanksgiving and hugged me tightly. You're stronger than all of us. I'm proud to be your aunt. The family restructured around Mother's absence. She wasn't invited to holidays. She wasn't included in group chats. She'd isolated herself through her own cruelty, and the family had finally stopped enabling it. I heard through Sophie that Mother was in therapy now, finally confronting her decades of guilt and shame. I hoped it helped her, not for my sake, but for hers. Living with that much self-hatred must have been its own kind of prison. One evening, Emily and I sat on my apartment balcony, watching the sunset. Do you ever regret posting that video? she asked. No, I said honestly. I regret that it was necessary, but I don't regret defending myself. You taught me something important that night. You taught me that being kind doesn't mean being silent, that setting boundaries isn't cruel, that you can love yourself enough to walk away from people who hurt you. I looked at my sister. We were building something real now, something honest. It wasn't the relationship we'd had as children, but it was better. It was chosen. What did you learn? I asked. That the sister I ignored for years is the strongest person I know, and that I'm lucky you gave me a second chance. 3 sisters who found each other in the wreckage. 3 women who refused to let one person's damage define them. We were messy and imperfect and still healing, but we were real. And that was worth more than any perfect image ever could be. I learned that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about people who see you, value you, and choose you every single day. Sometimes the family you're born into isn't your real family. Sometimes your real family is the one you build from broken pieces, the one that decides you're worth fighting for. I learned that walking away isn't always enough. Sometimes you have to stand your ground and speak your truth, even when it's terrifying, even when it costs you. Silence protects abusers. Truth sets you free. I learned that you can survive being unloved by a parent, that their rejection doesn't define your worth, that you can build a beautiful life from the ashes of their cruelty. Most importantly, I learned that I was never the problem. I was never too much or not enough. I was always exactly who I was supposed to be. And that was always worthy of love. The wedding that was supposed to erase me became the night I finally found myself. The night I stopped living like a stranger and started living like someone who knew her own value. And that made all the difference. So, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Have you ever been the one pushed aside, the one whose pain was ignored, the one who had to fight just to be seen? How did you find your voice? How did you reclaim your power? I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories and know they're not alone. Subscribe to hear more stories about survival, strength, and finding yourself when the world tries to erase you. And share this video with someone who needs to hear that they matter, that their voice counts, that they deserve better. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for seeing me when my own family couldn't. May you always know your worth. May you always find the courage to speak your truth. And may you always surround yourself with people who choose you back. Until next time, remember that you are enough, exactly as you are. And anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve a place in your life.